Now at 5:30, 5 people were shot and killed, including an 8-year-old boy and a teenage girl, after a family asked their neighbor to stop firing his gun into the air. And police say that neighbor responded by going next door, shooting and killing several members of the family, then fleeing the scene.
Yeah, Rachel Menitoff is live in the studio with us tonight. She's got more on the search for that shooter. Rachel.
Rick and Korean authorities say the confrontation happened after family members asked the suspect to stop shooting rounds because they were trying to sleep. The man responded saying it was his property, and he eventually walked next door with his rifle and carried out this horrendous shooting. 2 of the victims were found in a bedroom, laying over several children in an attempt to shield them from the gunfire. A Texas man fatally shot 5 of his neighbors, including an 8-year-old boy now identified as Daniel Enrique Lasso. It happened near the town of Cleveland, which is 45 miles north of Houston. According to police, on Friday night, several family members asked the gunman, 38-year-old Francisco Orpeza, to stop firing rounds from his yard because of the noise. Orpeza is then seen on home surveillance video walking next door with his AR-style rifle, where he ultimately shoots several of the victims at close range. He remains at large more than 15 hours after the shooting. Authorities are now using scent tracking dogs and an overhead drone in their search for him. They believe he was intoxicated at the time of the shooting and then fled to a wooded area a few miles from the scene.
New details this afternoon in that mass shooting in Mojave. We've been covering it as breaking news since this morning on 17 News at sunrise. We know that at least 4 people were killed in a shootout at a trailer in a small neighborhood. At this hour, we're still waiting to hear from deputies on whether the shooter is still on the loose. This is video of KCSO investigators at the scene shortly before midnight. Deputies say they first received a call about the shooting, and when they arrived, they found 3 people dead, 2 women and a man. Another woman was taken to the hospital but later died. The small desert community lies about 60 miles east of Bakersfield. It's home to about 4,000 people. 17's Alex Fisher was at the scene this morning and has this report.
This is the scene of America's latest mass shooting. There's not much here, just a dirt lot with debris scattered around and a few trailers on it. Some neighbors that I spoke with earlier today say that the shooting happened at one of the trailers behind me. Those neighbors say that they are devastated by what happened here last night, but they're not surprised. They say that shootings and other crime in the area has picked up over the last 6 months, but today it is the scene of a mass killing. I spoke with one man earlier today. He says he knows the victims. He says they were all good people.
I just didn't really believe it at first. Oh, they're good people, as I mentioned. They're very good people. And, I know them I know the ones that have passed away. I know them. So.
This property is currently listed on Zillow for $40,000. It is unclear if the people who lived here were the owners. And while it is quiet out here now, investigators are now trying to figure out.
News alert out of Lake Wales in Polk County. Police there have been investigating the murders of a mother and her 3 children whose bodies were discovered last night. And now we've learned the suspect is also dead following a standoff in Sanford. Fox 13's Josh Cassio is live in Lake Wales with the latest on what happened. Josh.
Linda, in just the last hour, we have confirmed the suspected shooter in this case is dead, was shot by police in the Sanford area following a SWAT standoff. Police say he had been communicating with negotiators, saying basically he was either going to kill himself or have police do it in a suicide by cop manner. In the end, that is ultimately what happened. Investigators say he reached for a gun despite ongoing negotiations that at times seemed positive. In the end, they say he reached for a gun and they shot and killed him. It is a violent end to an already very violent, horrific story here in Lake Wales. But first, let's start with the video out of Sanford. It's about 2 hours from where we are right now at the Sunset Park Apartments here in Lake Wales. You can see there were a lot of cops surrounding the Slumberland Motel. That's where they say Al Stenson was holed up. Stenson is the suspect here, and police were taking no chances with this guy, believing him to be extremely dangerous, and for good reason. He is accused of murdering a woman and her 3 children yesterday here in Lake Wales. The mother, according to police, is his girlfriend. Detectives believe the 4 murders happened around 5 in the morning yesterday, but their bodies weren't discovered until around 9 o'clock last night. One witness who lives in a nearby apartment says they didn't hear anything, didn't hear gunshots, didn't hear screaming, but did hear the family's dogs barking all day long. A family member stopped by to check on things last night and immediately called 911 for help. One neighbor telling us the family seemed happy, there weren't any outward signs of trouble, and now she feels completely shaken by all this.
Learning a lot more about a gruesome discovery in eastern Oklahoma and the 7 bodies police found. Authorities now say 2 of them are Ivy Webster and Brittany Brewer, the missing teenage girls they've been searching for. They were found in the small town of Henrietta outside a convicted sex offender's home. Jesse McFadden's body was also found on the property. He was about to stand trial for soliciting a minor, but missed his court date on Monday. Brewer's mother says she can't make sense of what happened to her 16-year-old daughter.
Why did you have to do it to my baby? Why? I don't understand why. Why so much hatred? You made your choice of what you done. You chose to do what you did. You have to face the consequences. Why take an innocent life?
Investigators say Brewer and Webster spent the weekend with one of their close friends who lived at McFadden's home. We are still waiting for authorities to identify the other 4 victims, but the sheriff says they're all
this afternoon. We were called just down the street to 1110 West Peachtree. This is a medical facility, the Northside Hospital. That is at that location. This shooting did occur inside the waiting room of that medical facility, where 5 individuals were shot. Unfortunately, a 39-year-old female has lost her life, and of those that are injured is a 71-year-old female, a 56-year-old female, a 39-year-old female, and then a 25-year-old female. We do know that Mr. Patterson, our suspect, left the building. We believe he carjacked a vehicle a short distance away and was able to flee the scene as the law enforcement agencies were descending on this area. We believe he has left the area. He may not still be in that vehicle. So I don't want everyone to be focused on the vehicle, which has been recovered. So the photograph that has been distributed, for your viewers, your listeners, to be very mindful of that photograph. If you see this individual who may or may not still be in the same hoodie, please call 911 right away or use Crime Stoppers to be able to provide an anonymous tip to where he may be. As the mayor said, we have a multi-jurisdictional effort underway to bring this individual to justice and ensure that we remove him from the street. Everyone consider him still armed and presenting a danger to whatever community